This is the download from Sounds Profitable, your daily source for the essential news in the business of podcasting. I'm Gavin Gaddis. Before I get into the top story, a quick reminder for tomorrow. This is the last time you're going to hear about this in the Download Daily. Sounds Profitable has a new webinar tomorrow, Wednesday, July 30th, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tom Webster is going to be giving a presentation of the new report, Driving to Action. This is the third part of the advertising landscape data. This one examines how podcast audiences respond to ads compared to other digital and traditional channels. The findings in this report challenge conventional assumptions about podcast ad performance, promo response rates, and word-of-mouth generation. You can register now with a link in the show notes. See you there. Here's what you need to know for today, Tuesday, July 29th. First up, Spotify wants fans to read like they listen as it hypes audiobooks. The new ad campaign from Spotify is promoting the fact audiobooks are included in Spotify premium subscriptions with similar language to music discovery. The ads focus on social media-driven hits, such as viral popular books from tastemakers on Book Talk, the readers promoting books on TikTok, all while using music-coded language. The phrase, "Stephen King just dropped a 14-hour banger," might be a wholly new sentence in the English language. All of which is to promote the idea of discovering and casually listening to books with the same buffet approach as users have become accustomed to when sampling individual songs. While more people listening to audiobooks is an overall benefit for spoken word content, it does mean podcasts are now looking at more competition for attention within one of the top apps for podcasts. Next up, 3 minutes of ads before your show begins is a bold choice. This is the title of a Reddit thread on our podcasting. This is originally spotlighted by James Cridlin over at Pod News. User I Am Who I Was Now addresses a friction point they've rubbed up against while trying new shows. They recently encountered a podcast recommended to them by somebody else that had 3 uninterrupted minutes of pre-roll ads before any of the content from the podcast itself played. As of this afternoon, the top response comment from user Loose Crayon, good name by the way, cites an unnamed podcast that had over 8 minutes of pre-roll. Podcast audiences have proven to be some of the more forgiving when it comes to advertising in their free content. But there is a limit to their patience, and threads like this are a valuable reminder to keep that in mind. Up next, brand love scales, so stop settling for being liked. This is an op-ed from Doug Zarkin, who argues brands have become too attached to the idea of chasing likes over brand love. It's easy to see the number of like behavior, whether it may be called on a given platform something like a like, a fave, a Jeremy Renner official star, etc., but rarely do they equate to genuine connection. Zarkin focuses on coaching brands to find ways their marketing can be more human, connecting with their target audience on a more personal level with authenticity that resonates with that audience. I would like to humbly toss in the fact that if someone's looking for a marketing channel that happens to be teeming with authenticity and audience trust, podcasting might be worth looking at. Insert winky emoji here. For our final top story, Google hits back at Pew Report. The recent Pew Report suggested Google's AI overviews, the paragraph of summarized information at the top of a Google search result these days, have reduced clicks across all website types, including news and retail. The report was built from a survey of 900 study participants in March who agreed to allow third parties to study their on-device behavior for a month, as well as purchase data from Ipsos. Google's response to this is to challenge the sample size being unrepresentative and small, as well as not telling the full story by only tracking if study participants clicked the top 3 links in a given AIO rather than any links visible in the AIO result total. They also point to attempts to make AI search results more publisher-friendly, such as the desktop version of Google AIO updating to display cards that link the top sources the AI is summarizing to both cite those sources and encourage users to click on them. As for the rest of the news, Acast is partnering with sell-side advertising company Magnite to make inventory accessible through Magnite, meaning Acast podcast inventory will be more accessible on a global scale. Westwood One and Cumulus Media have data looking into how audio drove Prime Day 2025 purchases for Amazon. The New York Times has coverage of critic Wesley Morris's new podcast, Cannonball. John Spurlock over on Mastodon notes evidence Overcast is looking into adding podcast transcripts. And The Hollywood Reporter covers plans by producers of the podcast run by recently deceased actor Malcolm Jamal Warner. His podcast, Not All Hood, will be hosting a live event this Friday to celebrate his legacy. Be sure to check out the links to every article mentioned right in your podcast listening app or at soundsprofitable.com, where you can also subscribe to the newsletter version while you're there. The download is written and produced by myself, Brian Barletta, and Tom Webster. For Sounds Profitable, I'm Gavin Gaddis. Download us again tomorrow. And for those keeping score, the heat index is somewhere near 110 where I'm at right now, and I'm recording in a room with all of the air conditioning turned off. These are the sacrifices I make for art.